My kind of town, my kind of music, kick it. Hey, thanks for clicking in. Appreciate all the likes and subs. What little they come in, appreciate every single one of them. This video, we're going to talk about 4 powerhouse bands from Chicago. Chicago's my favorite city in the whole universe, despite the politics and the corruption and the taxes and the weather and the traffic and the crime and the sports teams that mostly suck some of the time. It's still a wonderful city. Did I mention the traffic sucks? I think I did, right? Right off the bat, sorry to Ministry. Al, I know he put an album out, Moral Hygiene. Actually, oddly enough, I'm going to go into the city today to pick it up. So it did not make these 4 records from 2021 from Chicago bands. Sorry. From what I heard, it's pretty good. You know, same old stuff, industrial heavy metal. I'll just chugging it out. But I'll review that another time. Right now, we're going to talk about 4 bands. First band up is Cheap Trick. They were formed in 1973. My favorite record of theirs is 1979's Dream Police. This is a perfect damn record. Probably the best rock and roll record ever put out. I'm telling you, the song Way of the World is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. This is just a great record. So this came out in 79. It's what Cheap Trick is, of course, known for. Surrender, I Want You to Want Me. That's what people want to hear all the time. Trust me, their entire catalog is awesome. Cheap Trick. Next up is Naked Raygun, formed around 1980. My favorite of theirs is an early one called Throb Throb from them. Rat Patrol, I Don't Know. 2 powerhouse songs on this record. Of course, formed in Chicago. We're going to talk about Naked Raygun. Rise Against, formed around 1999 after 88 Fingers Louie kind of disbanded. 2 of the guys went the form on this. Favorite record of theirs is either 2004 Siren Song of the Counterculture, or I'm going to go with 2006's The Sufferer and the Witness. This is a great one. Oh yeah, this one's autographed. But these are great records. Rise Against, considered punk, hardcore punk, rock. To me, it's just good old edgy rock and roll, I'll call it. It's edgy. Last but not least, the oldest of the bands, Styx, formed around 72 in the streets of Chicago. Of course, my favorite of theirs is 1977's Grand Illusion. They got Tommy Shaw in 76, and he kind of helped form that line, you know, all those harmonies and that. Of course, on this album is the epic, iconic, the Midwestern Stairway to Heaven, Come Sail Away. I got the single. I love the artwork on this thing. Obviously, what to know for these, you know, Styx selling 300,000 copies, you know, when these records would come out in their heyday, or 400,000, 500,000. Now these bands are lucky to sell like 20,000 copies when that record comes out. How the music industry has changed. You know, those are physical copies. Everyone wants to stream and download, and gone are the good days. Most part. Of course, vinyl is coming back. That's what we're going to talk about. The new vinyl record releases from these 4 iconic Chicago bands that came out in 2021. Who did it the best? So, 2021, Cheap Trick put out In Another World, and I tell you, this band is in another league. Unbelievable. 2 of the guys are in their 70s. Robin Zander, one of the best vocalists, still today can hit those notes. He's like 68 years old. I mention that not to say, like, look how old these guys are, but in a way, look how old they are, and they're still kicking ass. It's unbelievable. In Another World is a great record. Now, that's the follow-up. 2017, they put out We're All Alright, which is a good record. Good/great record. So that, you know, they were putting out albums, you know, in the 70s. It was great. A lot of people criticize them getting too poppy in the mid to late 80s. You know, The Flame came out and stuff like that. The only problem, I didn't mind them being a pop rock band. I did not like the production being kind of wimpy, and that's my problem with Cheap Trick off and on. They are my favorite bands. I'm very critical of them. But they do have a production. I wish they had sometimes just got an engineer or producer. I was like, come on, guys. One more take. This time, let's kick it in the ass just a little more. A little more to some of those albums. So, We're All Alright was good. So, I thought maybe, well, if they put out another one, it's just going to be like this. Or maybe, you know, things are going to kind of not be so good. But I was wrong. They improved on that album. And that's what you want to do in your band. Especially when you're a band that, I think this is their 20th album. You want to try to improve. You know, you get older and stuff, you want to improve, but it's hard to because your ideas, you know, you've already flushed out a million ideas. You know, you're getting this group on the road all the time. You're worn down. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to put out a great album. This one is great. The summer looks good on you. Just Even the slower stuff on this album has that oomph that you need. It's good production, good sounding. These guys sound great. And this record features 3 out of 4 of the classic members that you love from Cheap Trick. So this is a great, great record. Go pick this up. Naked Raygun came out. The Chicago punk rock favorites came out with their, what I believe is their 6th proper studio album, Over the Overlords. It was talked about for a few years. You know, they're gonna put out this new album or not. You know, they consistently, kind of off and on, consistently. That doesn't make really sense, but off and on and consistent. They've been playing shows like forever. Their last record before this, we gotta go way back to 1990 with Raygun, Naked Raygun. They always have great cover art. This is the reissue of it. It's a great album. And then after that, you know, they kind of went around and then they came back, started playing shows and stuff. So here they are, 2021. Last year they put out Over the Overlords, a great record. I'm telling you, Suicide Bomb, the song, the group, you know, they're a punk band, but they do cover a lot of area within their songs. You know, you just throw in some weird like jazzy elements, you know, or slower than faster and stuff. But it's all powerful stuff. It's all great stuff. They aren't afraid to take risk, I guess, as a punk band, you might say. People are going to say they're not a jazz band. What I meant by that is they're not afraid to take risk and they'll throw in some silly stuff. Anyway, so they come out with Over the Overlords, and it just, you know, every track is just good. The more I spin this, the more it's just growing on me, and this is a great record. Man, you don't think you take what? Last record was 1990. This comes out in 2021. It's the last appearance of the late, great Pierre Kedzie. If you like rock, if you like punk, anything in between, check that out. Naked Raygun. On it, 3 of them are from the classic era of Naked Raygun. So they are retaining the members. I mention that because a lot of these bands, you know, if you have a 20, 30, 40-year career, it's like just the drummer left or just the singer left. So I'm going to mention how many guys are from the classic era so you have a good feel for what's going on in these bands. I think I read, however true Wikipedia is, this was the first record in a long time that did not debut on the Billboard top 10, I believe. So people just aren't selling physical media like they used to. But anyway, Nowhere Generation. Sorry, Al Jorgensen. Nowhere Generation came out 2021 in spring. It is just great. The Numbers, Sudden Urge, Nowhere Generation. They always have this thing where they're like first 2, 3, 4 songs just boom, 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 and it kicks its butt. This is a great band. Then now the hardcore punk fans, you know, the first 2 albums really like sort of hardcore. They always, well, they kind of got too poppy. They're like Nickelback of the punk rock world now. They're bro rock. I don't see it. Yeah, they get to that line where their choruses are poppy, and you can kind of, you know, you hear that Frank comment, and you kind of know the lyrics get catchy and stuff. But they're on a major label, and usually when you go to the major label, you're trying to appeal, you know, to more people. Have they totally changed their sound? I don't think so. They're still a hard band, and they're actually. My wife doesn't really like punk rock at all. They're one of the few punk bands that she likes. So that shows you that they're catchy and stuff. But don't be afraid by saying, you know, they're hardcore, they're punk. For people that just like rock and roll, check them out. They're not going to scare that much. You need a little angst in your life. We're in a crazy world. But anyway, I digress. And for the people that are really hard, yeah, they've gotten lighter or whatever. But for crying out loud, they're all in their 40s. You know how hard it is to maintain that much anger and hardcore punk rock when you're past your 20s and then your 30s and then your 40s. So you got to lighten up a little bit. So I like the lighter stuff. I think it's great stuff. The record before this was The Wolves, 2017. Probably not my favorite. Probably out of all, let's see. Nowhere Generation is their 9th proper studio album. I'd say Wolves is probably my least favorite or within the least 2 favorite. So to me, I was hoping they were really going to improve from Wolves, 2017 Wolves, and they did. 2021 Nowhere Generation is just a great record. Amongst their catalog, it probably sits within the middle, you know, but it's the band doesn't put out bad albums. So for Nowhere Generation, if you look at the personnel on it, of course they've had Zach from the great band Hagfish. They've had since around 2007 or so. But this album, Nowhere Generation, features 3 out of 4 of the guys from the classic era of Rise Against, what they're mostly known for. So that's not bad, retaining 3 out of 4 guys in today's crazy world. Last but not least, with their 17 release, featuring on it 2 of 5 of the guys from the classic era. So 2 out of 5 ain't too bad. Like I said, it got worse. Sometimes you just get the drummer or just the singer. So this we got JY and we got Tommy Shaw from the classic era of Styx. Before I get the newest one, what they were following it up was another Cheap Trick, Styx, and Rise Against all had their previous albums in 2017. So 2017 saw The Mission, kind of a concept album of in the future if we went to Mars and all that stuff. It's really like a Sonic-y album. It's really good stuff. I haven't played it a lot, to be honest, so I'm going to keep it out in my play pile here and play it a little more. Of course, when you bring up Styx, everyone's like, there's no Dennis DeYoung. Yes, he left like 20 years ago. And this guy, Lawrence Gowan, is their keyboard player and singer for a lot of their songs. To me, I'm not that hard on him because it is what it is. Sometimes he does sound kind of like an elf, chipmunk, leprechaun type vocals. It's kind of, he doesn't have that same warm tone that the former guy had. Of course, Dennis DeYoung. And when you hear, there's such iconic songs like Come Sail Away, you know those vocals so well, it's like, that doesn't sound exactly the same. But you got to put that aside and just enjoy what's around right now. And that's the lineup of Styx. 2021 Crash of the Crown. This is some great artwork. Styx has always had great artwork. I just realized there's more people on it than I originally thought. But anyway, this also, especially side 1, really feels like a concept album. It's like if Paul McCartney and John Lennon hung out with Queen for a while and then formed Styx or something. It's really Sonic-y, for lack of a better word, poppy stuff. It's really good stuff. So if you like classic Styx, I wouldn't say, they're kind of done. Check these newer releases out because they're pretty damn good. So Crash of the Crown, like I said, this is another one that I just got to play a little more. But I was spinning it the other day, and I just thought all of side 1 was really, really, really good. So Crash of the Crown from Styx. So as you can tell, all 4 of these powerhouse Chicago bands had a great 2021. That's kind of a crazy thing to say. Hey, we had a great 2021. Because in the future, we're going to look back at 20, 21, and even now 22 is just crap years. But anyway, if there had to be one band that just killed it and knocked it out of the park for the sole reason, I'm going to stop right here, that they took so long between albums, you should be rusty and horrible. The lead singer, Jeff Bezzotti, I believe is now like 60 or 61. He's got to deal with Parkinson's, for crying out loud. What a horrible thing to deal with. Some days are good, some days are bad, he says. But man, he must have had a bunch of good days, because when they cut these tracks, he sounds awesome. The band sounds awesome. It's a great tribute. The last performances of Pierre Kedzie. This is just a great record, and hands down, out of these 4 bands, and probably including Ministry, even though I really haven't heard that one yet, I'm going to say, if you're going to pick one Chicago band that kicked ass for 2021, that, ladies and gentlemen, is Naked Raygun. All 4 of these bands should be proud. I applaud them. It's so easy to suck when you've had a long career and you're sick of the same old people or you've lost good people in it. I applaud all 4 of you bands. Great releases. The #1 pick. Thanks for watching.